The early estimates are in for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The film has absolutely bombed at the box office. And not only has it bombed at the box office, we're getting some data claiming that only 9% of moviegoers actually heard the film was good from friends and family. Let's take a look at this here. According to the numbers, the film only grossed $60 million domestically in its 3-day opening weekend and another $70 million internationally for a global gross of $130 million. That is underperforming all of the projections we were seeing. The numbers predicted the film would gross $73.8 million in its 3-day opening weekend. Box Office Pro predicted that it would do $70.3 million, albeit the outlet did note the prediction range for the film was between $60 million and $77 million, coming in on the low end there at $60 million. And we still don't really have those really hard, accurate numbers. We're still going on a rough estimate of $60 million, so it might actually come in lower. We'll see. There is a report from Deadline that shows that it might actually be 58 to 59 million, which is lower than anyone's predictions. Everyone's low predictions was 60 million. But we had here Deadline's original projections were between 60 million and 65 million. They also said it would do 150 million globally, so that's 10 million below their global prediction there, and at the very low end of the domestic. So clearly underperforming all of the even awful projections for this film. If you want to look at how it compared to other Indiana Jones films, we can look at first Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That film grossed $100.1 million in its opening weekend, on its way to $317.1 million domestically and $786.6 million globally. That's unadjusted because that was all the way back in 2008, 15 years ago. So you know those are big numbers. If you adjust them, if you even look at, I did adjust this, The Last Crusade. It had $37 million when it opened in 1989. You adjust that, that's $90.8 million now in 2023 dollars. Temple of Doom's $25.3 million in 1984. Also trounced Dial of Destiny in 2023 dollars. That's $74.1 million. Raiders of the Lost Ark is an anomaly. It only had an $8 million opening when it opened back in 1981. But I think it's the highest grossing film of the entire franchise because it had really long legs. And people really like to see that movie, and they went to see it a lot of times. And it definitely had higher grosses than Temple of Doom and Last Crusade, I believe, without even adjusting for inflation at the overall box office. So that's why I didn't include that in this article here, though, because it is such an anomaly. As for why the film did so bad, I think you can just point to the quality of the film. I can't comment on that. I haven't seen it. Have no intention of seeing this. All of the PR and everything I was hearing from Harrison Ford and James Mangold were like, this movie is going to suck. And then we got the leaked ending where Phoebe Waller-Bridge punches Indiana Jones in the face in order to bring him back to the present, making it clear that Indiana Jones is so dumb and stupid he can't even make the right decisions. He has to have his goddaughter do it for him. And that is just sick and disgusting to me. And I had no intention of giving my hard-earned money for a film that does that. But it looks like a lot of other people that did see it didn't like it either. So we did have an 88% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's the only one that's actually kind of high. And I think that calls into question the reliability of the Fandango-owned website. We had Deadline report that a ComScore Screen Engine post-track exit poll revealed that, quote, only 9% of moviegoers heard it was good from friends and family. That is incredibly low. Really bad number there. The movie's cinema score also came in at a paltry B+. For comparison, Fast 10 also received a B+, and The Flash received a B. So barely better than The Flash. And everything I've heard about The Flash is that is an absolutely terrible film. And if you're getting anything below an A- on a cinema score, that's usually very bad. And then here we get a 6.9 weighted rating on IMDb. I think that's really bad on IMDb as well. I think the lowest we saw, even from like the Mandalorian season 3 stuff, was like were episodes in like the 7s, the low 7s, and those episodes were absolutely atrocious. So a 6.9 for Indiana Jones is pretty bad. And when I was in school, 69 was like a D-, so that's really bad. Given these box office numbers, we had our good friend, box office analyst, OMB Reviews, describing it as abysmal. This is awful. This is absolute doom for them. He actually predicts that the film will barely make $400 million and this is the worst performing film of the entire franchise. And given the fact that he thinks it's only going to barely make $400 million, he says that the film will be around a $250 million plus loss, over $250 million loss. He said that is how bad this movie is doing. And what is interesting is that he actually thinks that $400 million could be a best case scenario. So if this film has a massive drop off, similar to The Flash, it might not even do $400 million globally. It might do even worse than that, meaning that its loss would increase even more. So this film is an absolute disaster. But who didn't see this coming with everything that Lucasfilm has been up to and the type of quality that they've been producing over there at Star Wars recently? So not really a surprise that it's losing as much. That it's losing money, I guess. But I guess the surprise is just how much it's losing money. And just it's a trend now at the Walt Disney Company. They just continue to put out box office movies and they continue to lose lots and lots of money.